Hello and welcome to Polymer Clay TV. I'm Kira and today we're making faux bone. So I have rolled out and conditioned some clay that I'm going to be working with, and basically we've got white Primo Sculpey, translucent Primo Sculpey. This is a little scrap of amber, and these are just scraps from my work table of a couple of gold blends that were just lying around. This is a scrap of I don't know what. All I know is that this is Primo. That's my clay that I usually work with because it's nice and strong and I know I can use it for multiple projects. You can see this one has flecks and specks and it's kind of an off-white color. It's just scrap from my table that I mixed together to make this ecru, and I'm going to use it in the project. Then I have Primo Burnt Umber. And I'm literally probably just going to take a little speck like this and mix it into a piece of the translucent and make like a little bit of a darker color with this amber. I'll do the same thing. I'm really not trying to get anything but some just striations in the color that I'm using. So all of these, like this one will stay the way it is. These will be mixed. This, I might put a little speck of brown in there just to deepen it a little bit. When you have these light colors, you really don't want to go too hard on the dark ones because a little bit goes a long way. And then same thing with this nice solid white. I might put a little piece of this in it. Okay, so I'm gonna just mix these all together and come back. Okay, so I showed you a little bit about how I like to blend these quickly, basically by putting them through the pasta machine at the highest setting or the thickest setting, and then moving it down quickly and really making it thin will get those pieces to blend together faster than rolling it at the number 0 for 25 different times. So you can get the clay to blend together relatively fast. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make some snakes, and then we're going to use those snakes to make a log. So that part can take a little bit, be a little tedious or whatever. So I'm going to take the white and make a log, and then I'm going to make the other colors into thinner logs. Right, and you can see here I don't even care that much that it's not blended all the way through, because you'll see when we do this technique that it doesn't matter all that much, that it's perfectly blended. I'm going to make these logs differently, like different diameters. They don't all have to be the same. In fact, it's better if they're not. Some can be thin, some can be thicker. I might even, let's see. I want to put a little bit of white on the outside, so I'm going to grab some of that inner piece and make a log out of the white. So this is going to be very random. I'm just going to mix bits and pieces of everything that I have blended and rolled out, make snakes, and put it around this white snake. Okay, so now I have this log, And I've set aside the rest of the scraps over here because I may want them as I'm doing this process. You'll see why in a minute. We're gonna roll this out. We can roll and stretch, kind of like you're doing a cane. We want these to meld together and stretch way out because we're looking for the differences in color to be kind of stripy and striated. And then we're just going to twist, which you can do by holding one end and rolling with your other hand. And then we're going to, I like to try to make sure they're not like all lined up next to the same exact color. And we're going to meld this together and keep rolling. Now along where this is, maybe I want to go ahead and take a stripe of one of these colors that I already have lying here that I didn't use yet, and make kind of a thin stripe to go between them. It's just going to add more interest later on because we're going to be rolling and thinning this out for a few minutes here. And each time it's going to get a twist. We're not trying to blend anything together. We are just trying to get a really stripy look on the outside of what's eventually going to be something that we can roll out and make into a flat sheet. So you don't want to go too much with this before you roll it flat, otherwise you lose the stripiness. And you definitely want to keep twisting. I'm really liking how this is starting to look, so I'm going to start to compress it. Doesn't it look like a little caterpillar? This would be a great way to make a project where you wanted to do like a monarch caterpillar or another caterpillar that has stripiness to it. If you're a sculptor, you could use different colors and this would make a perfect little caterpillar. That's what it looks like to me. But we're making bone, so we're going to go ahead and stop here and start to flatten this out. Next step is it's going to the pasta machine. So we have a good approximation of some bone right now, but we're going to do the pasta machine a couple of times, stretch it out, blend it over itself like a Skinner blend, but we're not going to blend until it's all mixed together. We're going to blend until this stripiness has kind of muted itself just a little bit because it's too much. I want to put a pattern over this and everything and make it look like whalebone or scrimshaw. So the pasta machine rolling is going to be just a couple times of folding and rolling until the extreme stripes are gone and it's a softer stripiness. Now I have a sheet that feels a little bit more pleasing as far as the striations of bone, and it's not so harsh. Like here's some unblended, here's what we're getting on the back. I like how this looks now. So we're going to put this down on the work surface because there's one more step I want to play with. And for that, I'm going to use a tool. This is my Extreme Smooth and Sculpt tool, and it has an interesting curve and point going on over here. And what I'm going to do now is drag. I'm going to drag a little bit through here. Kind of back and forth a little bit, just lightly dragging, lightly pressing. Pressing and dragging. And now flattening. So you can see what I have done is I've broken up the perfection of the lines and created something that's a little bit more natural looking with little waves and divots in it. Isn't that fun? Now this is a veneer that you can use for lots of things. So I left it fairly thick so that I could do that technique and roll it out further and create these lines on it with a tool. Right now you could also use something like the back of a paintbrush or a ball stylus tool, which looks like this, to do the dragging. But I do find that something that has a little bit more space to it, it gives a better drag, right? So stay tuned for next week because I'm gonna make a very cute little bird pin with this. I'm trying to keep these videos to under 10 minutes so that they're easy to consume. And I would love to see what you make with yours. I'm going to back this with another sheet of clay to give it more structure and depth so that I can cut with a cutter and create a beveled look. So that's coming next Friday. Stay tuned.